All right, these are my week 20 NBA power rankings. This is on my phone. I do not have my normal setup with me right now, so hopefully that's not too much of a problem. But let's get started. Starting off with our injuries, you guys can look at this here yourself. Moving on from there, we have the top performances. Again, you guys can look at this yourself. I don't want to waste too much of your time. But moving on from there, we got the Utah Jazz at number 30. They have lost 4 games this week, 0-4. They have lost 6 straight games overall. Really, really bad team right now. But they lost to 3 bad teams this week. Um, they played the Wizards, Raptors, and Sixers, 3 of the worst teams in the league, and lost all 3 of those games. The Jazz kind of suck right now. Number 29, Washington Wizards. They kind of suck too, but they didn't suck this week. They split 2 games with the Raptors, and they beat the Utah Jazz. So actually, a winning week for the Wizards. Pretty good, all things considered. Number 28, Philadelphia 76ers. They went 1-3 this week. They're pretty bad as well. They did beat the Jazz, but they lost to the Sixers. No, they lost to the Timberwolves, Celtics, and Hawks. Number 27 is the Charlotte Hornets. They move up a few spots. They went 2-2 this week, so they're not going to be number 30 anymore because they did win some games. They beat the Nets and the Heat, and they lost to the Timberwolves and the Cavs. Number 26 is the New Orleans Pelicans. They went 0-4 this week. They are, really bad, but they did play 4 good teams this week, so I'm not going to fault them too much. Lost to the Lakers, Rockets twice, and Memphis Grizzlies. Number 25 is the Brooklyn Nets, moving up 1 spot actually. They did beat the Los Angeles Lakers, which is a pretty good win, but they lost to the Spurs, Warriors, and Hornets. Number 24 is going to be the San Antonio Spurs. They went 1-3 this week, dropping 2 spots here. They beat the Nets, but they lost to the Kings, Timberwolves, and Mavericks. Sorry. Number 23, Portland Trailblazers. They went 0-4 this week. Before this week, they had a potential chance to climb up to a 10 seed play-in spot, but after going winless this week, they still do have a chance, but certainly a lot less likely. They lost to the Celtics, Thunder, Pistons, and Warriors this week. Number 22 was the Orlando Magic. They'll drop 2 spots this week after going 1-3. Still sitting here at an 8 seed, but I do believe they were a 7 seed last week, if I'm not mistaken. They might have been an 8 seed as well. I'm not 100% sure on that, but either way, not a very good week this week. Beat the Bucks, lost to the Bulls, Raptors, and Rockets. 21 is the Toronto Raptors. They went 3-1 this week, sitting at a 13 seed. Certainly not really any hope of making a play-in spot, but did have a good week this week. Beat the Magic, Jazz, and Wizards, but they also did lose to the Washington Wizards by 1 point. Number 20 is going to be the Dallas Mavericks, dropping 2 spots, sitting here at 1-3, now falling to a 500 record. Still sitting at a 10 seed right now, but I would expect them to drop, outside of that spot. The gap between them and the 11 seed just got a little bit closer this week, and I would assume that it's going to continue to get closer, and they're ultimately going to lose that 10 seed. Number 19 is the Miami Heat. I believe they were the 7 seed a week ago, and now they went 0-4 this week, dropping all the way to a 9 seed. So, not a good week here for Heat fans. They lost to the Cavs, Timberwolves, Bulls, and Charlotte Hornets this week. Number 18 is the Chicago Bulls. They went 3-1 this week, sitting at the 10 seed, a lot closer to a 9 seed Heat team there, but I don't expect them to move outside of their 10 spot really. But certainly things looking good this week. Lost to the Cavs, but beat the Magic, Heat, and Pacers. Number 17 is the Atlanta Hawks. They went 3-1 this week, going to jump up 2 spots here. They were the 9 seed a week ago, and now sitting at the 7 seed. Obviously, a pretty good week here for Atlanta. Moving on there to number 16, we got the Sacramento Kings dropping 2 spots here after having a 1-3 week. They're the 9 seed right now. I think they were the 8 seed a week ago, so dropping just 1 spot there. Not too bad. Beat the Spurs, lost to the Clippers, Knicks, and Nuggets. Number 15 is the Phoenix Suns. They're going to jump up 2 spots, went 2-2 this week, sitting at the 11 seed, but that gap between them and the Mavs at 10 did get a little bit closer this week, and again, I expect the Suns to take over that gap, to take over that 10 seed at least. They beat the Clippers and Mavs this week and lost to the Nuggets and Grizzlies. Number 14 is the Indiana Pacers. They went 1-3 this week, dropping 2 spots, sitting at a 5 seed right now. Certainly not bad at all, but not a great week this week. They beat the Rockets, but they lost to the Hawks twice, and they lost to the Chicago Bulls. Number 13 is the Detroit Pistons of the 6th seed. They went 1-2 this week and are going to drop 4 spots. They did lose to 2 good teams in the Clippers and Warriors, and they beat the Portland Trailblazers. Number 12 is the Los Angeles Clippers. They went 3-1 this week, sitting at the 8th seed. Sorry about that. Sitting at the 8th seed. Moving up 3 spots here in my rankings. They beat the Pistons, Knicks, and Kings and lost to the Phoenix Suns. Number 11 is the Milwaukee Bucks. They're going to drop 5 spots this week after having a 2-2 week. Not really, too bad of a week, but dropping 5 spots just kind of because the way things had to fall around them with some other teams doing really good. They beat the Hawks and the Mavs, and they lost to the Magic and the Cavs. Number 10 is going to be the New York Knicks. They went 1-3 this week. And then, of course, lost Jalen Brunson to injury for at least 2 weeks, potentially up to 4 weeks. So definitely need him back if they want to, maintain this 3 seed for them. Obviously, they're going to need him back in the playoffs if they want to have any sort of hope of winning a title. But this week, they beat the Kings, lost to the Warriors, Lakers, and Clippers. Number 9 is going to be the Memphis Grizzlies. They went 3-1 this week, sitting at a 4 seed. They're going to jump up 4 spots, actually. Really good a week here for Memphis. They lost to the Thunder, but they beat the Mavericks, Pelicans, and Suns. Number 8 is the Houston Rockets. They were number 8 a week ago. Went 3-1 this week. Pretty good a week there for them. Lost to the Pacers, beat the Pelicans twice, and beat the Orlando Magic. Do have a couple injuries to worry about. Amen Thompson is going to be out for 1 to 2 weeks. Reed Shepherd's going to be out for like a month, but he doesn't really play in their rotation anyways. Number 7 is Minnesota Timberwolves. They're going to jump up 4 spots after having a 4-0 week. They're only a 7 seed, so being 7 in the rankings does not match the record. But like I said a week ago, they just got Julius Randle and Dante DiVincenzo back, and I said that was going to be a big push for them in the back half of this season, right? That's going to help them, finish strong these last couple of months, and so far, it's been true. Number 6 is going to be the Golden State Warriors. They went 4-0 this week as well, jumping up 4 spots there for them. Again, kind of like the Minnesota Timberwolves, where their record doesn't necessarily match their ranking, but ever since the All-Star, they've been doing really good after getting Jimmy Butler in that trade. And this week, they beat the Knicks, Nets, Pistons, and Blazers. Number 5, Los Angeles Lakers. They went 2-2 this week, sitting at a 3 seed right now, but losing LeBron James. Even if it's only for 2 weeks, it's certainly a big loss there for them. Hopefully, he does not miss more than the 2 weeks that he's projected to miss. They lost to the Celtics and Nets, and they beat the Knicks and Pelicans this week. Number 4 is the Denver Nuggets. They're going to jump up 3 spots here after having a 3-1 week of their own. Lost to the Thunder, but they also beat the Thunder, so split 2 games there with them. They beat the Kings and Suns as well. Number 3 is the Boston Celtics. Had a 4-0 week, sitting at the 2 seed here in the East. Beat the Blazers, Sixers, Lakers, and Jazz this week. Number 2 is the Oklahoma City Thunder. They split 2 games with the Denver Nuggets, like I just mentioned earlier. So I'm not going to fault them really for losing there. They're going to stay here at number 2. They also beat the Grizzlies and the Blazers as well. Number 1, of course, is going to be the Cleveland Cavaliers. They went 4-0 this week. They've won 14 straight games. Certainly one of the best teams in the league right now. Hottest team in the league for sure. They have not lost a game since the All-Star break. But this week they beat the Bulls, Heat, Hornets, and Milwaukee Bucks. So moving on from there is our award races. I'm going to talk about the leader of each category, but you guys can look at the rest. Shai Gilgeous-Alexander is leading MVP. Stephon Castle is leading Rookie of the Year. Cade Cunningham is leading Most Improved. Peyton Pritchard is leading Sixth Man of the Year. Jalen Brunson is leading Clutch Player of the Year, but that could very well change depending on how many games he misses here. Kenny Atkinson is leading Coach of the Year, and Evan Mobley is leading Defensive Player of the Year. That's going to be it for this video. Thank you for watching. Hopefully it worked out well on my phone. I should get back to our normal recording next week.